Good day to you, Guyana, and welcome to another edition of Facing the Nation. As usual, I am Malika Ramsey. Thank you very much for joining us. I know some of you missed me live last week, even though I wasn't here. A tape was here, a recording was here. As you know, last week, the APNU AFC government was in the mode of observing 2 years in office. So what we had running for about a week or so, and I think it's still running on some of the other channels, is a program called Reflections in Government. That is where several members of the cabinet actually sat down with various interviewers and so on, and they spoke about some of the things we would have achieved from 2015 to now and what you can possibly expect from the government. The good thing about some of those conversations too is that it also focused on some of the negatives, ways in which the public felt that we as an administration fell down and so on, and you heard from the cabinet members how they plan to better and improve on certain conditions in various sections. I have a treat for you, for those of you who have not gotten a chance to see some of them or been following them. On the second half of today's program, I'll be bringing you the conversation with one of the presenters, of course, along with the Minister of Communities, that's the Honorable Ronald Bulkin, and the Minister of Public Telecommunications, the Honorable Catherine Hughes. But that is coming up in the second half of today's program. In the first half, we're going to be dealing with a very big sector, that is the housing sector. Many people are still lining up at the Department of Housing, which is run by the Honorable Valerie Patterson, and she's been working very hard and tirelessly around the clock to ensure that people get land and so on. But we're going to be focusing today on the Housing Expo that is coming up. The opening is going to be on the 26th of May 2017. It's going to be one with a difference, but what I'll do today is let the experts, the people who are organizing it, who are behind it directly, tell you about what you can expect and so on, and exactly how it's going to be, because there's still some amount of confusion out there. But just know that this is also one of the ways in which the government will continue to fulfill that promise of providing the good life for all of you, and one of the ways in providing a good life is by providing housing. It is my pleasure to welcome for the first time on this program, because housing is so big and ongoing. I know it won't be his last time on this program. I plan to make him a monthly feature. He doesn't know that as yet, but he knows now. Kennard Dazzel is the project manager that is for Housing Solutions. He's here to tell you all about what's going to be happening on the 26th, I think 27th and the 28th. He'll correct me if I'm wrong. We also expect Mr. Remington Nelson. He is the technical assistant to the Minister of Housing, and I think as I called his name, he walked into the studio, so he'll be joining us on set in a bit. But for now, let me welcome Kennard Dazzel to Facing the Nation. Welcome, sir.
Hi, thank you for having us this afternoon, and good afternoon, Guyana. Mm-hmm. And I must say it's a pleasure and an honor to share with the nation in terms of what is it we're doing currently. Mm-hmm. It's actually Housing Solution 2017 and beyond.
And beyond.
Yes.
Okay,
so it's a range of solutions, not only for now, but we're looking way beyond 2017. Mm-hmm. All right. At the project site currently coming up on the 26th to the 29th of this month, which is actually next weekend, the Independence weekend, you'll have an opportunity to see some of the solutions or the range of solutions that that has been posited out there. All right. So what we've done, we've actually constructed real buildings instead of the makeshift, that you're accustomed to seeing at some of the other expos. We've actually have real structures on the ground, so you can have an opportunity to move through them and get a sense in terms of the floor space, the layout, what you can actually do, right, in the future in terms of how you can be, you can probably place your furniture and so forth.
Good. So these real buildings that we're going to be having, are they the duplex style? Or is it everything? Because again, Housing Solutions 2017 and beyond.
Yeah. All right. Good. It's what we have. We have a mix. The focus right now is on the duplexes, so this is what we're going to be actually rolling out. All right. In addition to the duplexes, we have some single buildings, which we've partnered with we call the exhibitors or just developers to give us their version of what a low, moderate, and middle income building is going to be like, our homes. All right. So you see a range of solutions there. We have in excess of 25 plus buildings on the ground. All right, which will give you the opportunity to view and see this wide range But the focus from the government side is on the duplexes, which is
because
one component of the range of solutions that we're going to be proposing.
I'll talk to you a little later on about some of the other possible solutions. But of course, viewers, let me just remind you, the focus today really and truly is, the duplexes and the fact that it is to more or less push the Housing Expo, which is coming up on the 26th. The opening actually is going to be on the 26th of May. I think now I'm ready to introduce you to Mr. Remington Nelson. Again, he is the technical assistant to the Minister of Housing. Welcome to Facing the Nation, sir.
Thank you very much, Malika.
All right,
Glad to be here.
Great to have you. Are we ready? I know the ministry is still in, the department is still in preparations. Are we ready for Housing Expo 2017?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
We are. There are some corners to be. We've got to go around, but we have things under control. The entire staff is focused on making this well, of course, it's the first of its kind. We've had building expos before. This is the focus here is on, as Mr. Dazzel had mentioned before, the focus is on housing, the housing options, as we seek to realize the President's vision of making housing more affordable, building sustainable, cohesive, and empowered communities.
Okay. What I found very interesting, and you did say that this is the first of its kind, it's different. When we hear exposition, when we heard about expositions in the past, we thought of Sophia Exhibition Site, even to some extent the Providence Stadium. This is in a controlled area, as one of your PR personnel raised earlier. The concern would probably be not only security in the sense of anything bad happening, but crowd control, because it's going to be major. Even people who are not in the now in the state of building, people will be curious and they will want to see what's happening. What measures are in place for crowd control and to some extent security?
Well, we are in discussion with the police force. We have met with the hierarchy of A Division, and we had an initial visit to the site, and Mr. Dazzel and the others would have indicated to them what we're doing. And in addition to that, we are hiring a security firm. We've asked the police, it's a long stretch from the public road to the site, because it's still a development, it's still in a developmental stage. There are lots of infrastructure still to be put into place. So we've asked the police to make sure that, that there is mobile patrol along the route. And secondly, we've hired a security firm to assist with additional security. Now we are asking persons to please note, parking will be done at the Providence Stadium tarmac.
Oh.
Yes. Now there are VIPs and persons working in the exhibition who will be provided with passes to get to the site. But the general public will park on the tarmac, and then they will be shuttled to the site.
Oh, because I was wondering if that is the amount of exercise, because people like me wouldn't want that kind of exercise.
It might be good for some of us. But yeah, so the, parking will be done out there, and we provide a shuttle service.
Secure parking, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, because
yes.
You did say the security firm will be hired.
Correct.
So.
And then we have our own internal security system that will be put into place to, again, bolster what the police will be doing, what this hired security firm will be doing.
Okay, great. Kennard, I'd like to come back to you for a bit. Remington just mentioned something, which is the fact that there is lots of infrastructure still to be done there. In preparing the site for this exposition, how challenging was that, and how have you been able to work around the fact that there's still much infrastructure missing?
All right. It was quite a challenge in terms of getting it from its stage of zero to where we are currently, which is about approximately 95% complete in terms of all the buildings and some of the infrastructure work that we have there. The roadworks only started a few days ago,
And when you say road works, this is
in the site itself, we're going to be paving a section of the road, which should be completed by Sunday, right? I mean, the team on the ground, they are working assiduously, they're working night and day to ensure that we get to our target, all right? Which definitely will be so done in another few days from now, all right? But it definitely was a challenge in terms of coordinating with the various teams on the ground there. Over the last few weeks, we basically had about almost 400 plus persons on site moving around, developing each and every one of the buildings, because this was just about 13 and a half, 14 weeks ago.
Wow. Has it affected nearby communities in terms of people who are already living in the area?
No and yes.
Okay.
In some cases, the persons in the community was a bit inconvenienced depending on what is we are doing. However, but what we did, we worked around everyone. All right, we created the necessary accesses and stuff. And where the site where we're actually constructing the building, it's within the internal section of the scheme itself.
Okay, gentlemen, you'll have to forgive me because as you speak, I'm trying to picture what it looks like, because I'm excited about this, and as we did say that it's the first of its kind. What happens after the expo in terms of all that is being done there now, with the buildings and so on? Because as you did say, people will get a chance to go in and see what their homes could possibly look like.
What will definitely happen, this program will be expanded across 6 regions, 10 locations. All right, there's the entire housing solution itself. So after the expo, at the location there, we definitely be developing more buildings, more duplexes. All right, so we can house more families within a short period of time. All right, so definitely you will see more work taking place there and the other locations around the region, the 6 regions, 10 locations across Guyana.
Okay, and for the buildings, for the houses themselves, they will be sold. So that's what we call it a model village. So 2 years from now, a year from now, 6 months from now, someone wants to see what can I have. We can take them out to the model village. Here's a model. This is what your house can look like, whether it be a duplex or a single unit. And so this unit was built by contractor A. And so if you would like this, if you like this design, then we can provide contact information so that that person can make arrangements reach out to whoever that contractor is.
Okay.
And make arrangements to have his or her house built wherever his or her land would be allocated.
Okay, forgive the slight confusion here. So after the expo, if someone who visited wanted to say, well, I want this house right there, that is possible? Or
yes, that's the idea. All of those houses are for sale.
Are for sale, yeah.
Are for sale.
Yes,
okay.
They are for sale. So as a matter of fact, as we speak, there are people, at least I know of one contractor whose house, I think it's fair to say, has already been sold.
Okay.
Because he's already contacted. Someone has reached out to him and said, I'm going to go after this. So what is necessary? An application, first of all, with CHNPA. The minister did say, even if one doesn't have an application in, but one is interested in a particular housing unit, that person can go to the CHNPA, purchase that application, which is, the cost is $200. Still $200, and fill out that application. So and Malika, allow me to deal with an issue here, because I've seen this in a very popular column accusing the government of, well, the government is going to give these houses free to its supporters. People are going to take the houses and not pay the government, and because the government wants votes, the government wouldn't put them out.
I'm happy I didn't see the article. Go ahead.
The arrangement is between the purchaser and the bank. Or you pay cash. You're not paying the government. So the person will be sent to the bank, or the applicants will be sent to the bank to be pre-qualified. The bank will evaluate that person's total income, and based on that evaluation, they will then inform CHNPA how much this person is qualified for in terms of the loan. So at the end of the day, that person pays the bank pays the government for the unit, and so that money will now go so that Dazzel and his team can continue to build more houses.
More houses.
So that's the arrangement. You wouldn't be able to owe the government, because if you owe the bank, what happens?
What happens? So, right. I'm happy that you did make that clear indeed, because propaganda sometimes tend to go a long way. Kennard, one of the things we were talking about before this program is the fact that this project is also providing jobs for people. Let's talk about the amount of jobs.
Yeah, as we were talking earlier, as you said, we have had about 400 plus persons employed. I mean, it's a little you see it. Directly from the 8 buildings that we were constructing, there was approximately 80 persons, right? There's 80 families depending on that. And it's just a small component. I mean, multiply this 10 times over, 758 units across the country. You see the kind of employment that it was likely to create during the period. All right, but I just want us to at least get back to the focal point here in terms of where we are with the housing solutions.
The housing solutions.
Yeah, because as Remington said earlier, and one of the concerns that some persons tend to have, or the expectation is that when we come to the location, we're going to the National Stadium, or we're going to the National Park, or we're going to Gaia Expo. So you have this kind of mindset that this is how it is. We are in a housing development. So what we're trying to do, we are accommodating all the exhibitors and all the persons, the patrons who are coming through in actually a housing development, housing scheme. So you have a flow. All right. So we have some control systems in place to to ensure that we have a smooth flow of persons and traffic along with the exhibitors. So also you have a good opportunity to see the buildings and see what we have on display.
All right. I want you to develop on exhibitors. When you say exhibitors, what can the public expect to see? Businesses businesses who provide materials or services or whatever to help them with enhancing their homes. In terms, when you say exhibitors, what will we see?
All right. In this case, I mean, since the focus is on housing solutions, right? Housing, it's a model village. We have the insurance companies, we'll have the banks there, we'll have some various other institutions where, if you have questions about your financing, you have questions about your insurance, you have questions about anything, it's there. The ministry also will have their booth there to answer almost all of your questions, all right, as it relates to accessing these facilities, or these units that we have on the ground. All right, so we have, outside that, we still, they have the software component in terms of the entertainment. It's nightly entertainment.
Oh, there's space for entertainment too?
We have
my imagination is not going wide enough at this point.
Yes, we have, we created a space for entertainment. We have also, some bouncy castles for the kids. We have we have food, we have the drinks, will be displayed. So you have, a lot of activities there to keep you, keep you entertained and informed, which is most important in terms of what the whole solutions are going to be, or the range of solutions.
All right, viewers, if you're now tuning in, today's the first half of our program today is focusing on the Housing Expo that's coming up on the opening ceremony that's coming up on the 26th of May, which will run until the entire activity will run until the 29th. And of course, I'm talking to Kennard, Dazzel, and Remington Nelson, both of them representing the housing department at this point, and it's all about housing solutions. He did correct me earlier. It's not just housing solutions, it's housing solutions 2017 and beyond. Remington, let's talk about the opening day. I don't know how detailed you can get in terms of the program, but that is going to be massive to control on opening day. What can we expect on the 26th?
All right, of course. So for the program, there's a mixture of remarks by the ministers, at least 2 ministers,
yes.
And the president's representative. Of course, looking at giving a background to the project, as well as talking about the new policy direction of the housing sector. And we intersperse that with some cultural items, because it's still our 51st independence. Right? So there is going to be a saxophone rendition coming out of Linden, and a number of other items. You're going to have some beautiful pan music, steel pan music on that day. So in a nutshell, that's the program. So at the end of that, the guests would be invited to have the first tour.
The first tour, right. Understood.
And thereafter, we move into of course, the public is invited to come visit the exhibits. And at about 7:30, we are going to have on the first night, the stage performance by some of our local artists. The first night is more cultural. The second night is a mixture of reggae, dancehall, soca chutney.
These are going to be on stage too?
On
the
stage,
second? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
on stage. And then on Sunday night, we'll feature some of our gospel artists.
Okay. All right. How is it expected to close? How the event is expected to be closed? The
event closes on Monday, and Monday it's been designated for students. Last year, Minister Patterson and the team went. We visited, I think it was 7 regions, where she was holding these consultations, seeking the public's view on either leaving the minimum age requirement at 21 or lowering it to 18, given that you can do a number of other things at 18, drive a car, get married, vote, and serve in the army, but you couldn't apply for a house at 18. And it was something she felt very passionate about. And so out of those sessions, as we listened to adults and students, we realized that, look, there are a lot of young people that are interested in something as serious as providing, considering housing even in their teenage years. And so, well, of course, the age has been lowered to 18. But so, out of those consultations, we have looked at some themes, talking about preparing for the future. So on that day, we want to give these students an opportunity to interact with these, have a visit, and we're going to have a dramatic piece being done, again, on housing. The theme is housing, looking at your future, being serious about how preparing for your future. I remember the previous chairman saying in Barticle, some people come and they want a free house. A house is too expensive, housing is too expensive. And he said, if you are thinking about housing, then you should start to save towards that. Not expect someone to come and give it to you, a free key and say, look, here's a house, Dazzel left it for you. So we want to, again, remember there are 3 categories, I don't know if we mentioned this: state employees, low to middle income earners, and youth. Yes. So we want our students who fall into the last category to begin to think about their future in this regard. And so as they see hopefully as they see the models, as they interact with the staff and with the dramatic piece, they would leave there with that in mind, that at some point I would have to begin to think about where I will spend my life. I'm not going to stay at Ma and Pa all the time, or going to a rented apartment. I should begin to prepare for my own.
What happens of course, this is with the exception of open day, on the 3 days, what happens during the day? Is it going to be available, open to the public all day for the 3 days?
From 11 o'clock on, so the opening ceremony begins at 3 p.m. on Friday. And then we go into the exhibition. On Saturday and Sunday, that's the 27th and 28th, the exhibition begins. The exhibition is open at 11 and runs up until 10. And on Monday the 29th, it opens at 11 and closes at 3. Okay.
Kennard, earlier we also talked about the fact that housing solutions, again, 2017 and beyond. I know the focus is on the duplex, what's happening there. I don't know if you can, highlight a bit what else can be expected in terms of the project, your organization, after what will happen on May 26th.
All right. As we mentioned earlier, the duplex is one component of the whole housing solution. There's the other ranges that we're looking at. We have some townhouses. They think there's other consideration for condominiums and high-rises, apartment complex. So it's a wide range of solutions, and we even also will be considering at some point in time too. The single units for families. So it's a wide range to try to meet the needs of all the persons. So what will happen actually, we'll have data drive the development. All right. So again, I mean, the focus right now though is on the duplexes, so we can get a lot of persons housed.
So come out. I know last week, Remington, the Department of Housing was asking for corporate Guyana, basically, more of corporate Guyana to come on board. Have you been successful in those efforts?
At least for the minister continues her outreach, as a matter of fact, not just locally, but overseas. As a matter of fact, we have at least two, there's three companies from abroad. There's the Polish group, there's the Malaysian group, and I think another. But so she continues that outreach, trying to get, because the thrust is to see how, again, fulfill the president's vision of affordable housing.
Houses.
So, yes, there's the Caribbean
construction. Yeah.
Construction. That's the third international forum that will be featured at the exhibition. For this one, we've had the Citizen Bank, Demerara Bank Limited, Gafour's, Geico Construction, Guyana Bank for Trade and Industry Limited, Republic Bank Limited, Scotia Bank, and North American Insurance and Courts. Because we have a number of home furnishers that some of the houses will be furnished. A few of them, the entire house. In other instances, a room or two rooms will be furnished, so that people, again, you get a home sense.
The home feeling. Because and I'm happy that you talked about the fact that you'll have a room or two furnished, because when Kennard spoke about you'll understand what your house would look like, it's because you're not going to get the feeling if you just walk into all empty, it's as if you're just going there to see all empty buildings, which we know that it's more than that, but you know how the human
and there will be
mind
people
works.
explaining, okay, what went into the construction here, the materials that were used, some finer details into the design. Okay. So there's an actual tour of the house as you go through the exhibition.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
So you definitely, as you said, earlier, some will be completely furnished, and some will be partially. And then we were actually trying to keep one or two just empty, so you'll get a sense floor space. How the floor space can be utilized.
What you want to put where.
Exactly. So you see from empty straight on to fully furnished.
Nice.
So again, you can wrap your mind around what you're playing with.
Okay, I haven't seen it yet, but I told you my mind has been working from the time this discussion started. Kennard, I want to ask you this also. Earlier you talked about, because I did ask you about infrastructure in that particular area, but in general, in the other projects and so on, do you find that if an area is not developed in terms of infrastructure to a certain point, would it be, and this is not about this exhibition that's coming up, would it be a challenge though for the project? And how is Remington, here is where you coming, how is the department working with possibly the Ministry of Public Infrastructure and so on, to have that link to ensure that one thing doesn't affect the development of the other?
Okay. All right. Yeah. I would like to definitely start with that one, because one of the range of solutions that we actually will be rolling out will be a joint initiative between ourselves and the Ministry of Public Infrastructure. Right. We bring all the resources together so that we can actually roll this out, and this is where the townhouses arrangement comes into play. All right. Right at Providence, there we had the start turning just a few weeks ago, I think about a month or so back. The start turning at the site of Providence. This is the location where you will see the townhouses being constructed using this model. All right, where the Ministry of Public Infrastructure will have some resources there. We will have our resources, so it's a joint initiative to move it forward.
Okay.
Right.
If I may add, back in March, I think it was, Central Housing and Planning, and the Minister did talk about this in our last budget speech, did organize a planning forum. This planning forum brought together agencies, every agency that has anything to do with the setting up of a community. The reason is so that Central Housing and Planning, as the lead agency, can have the input of all of the other sister agencies, brother agencies, as it goes forward, so that you don't have a situation where you construct a road and then you have to dig up the road for you to come in and lay the pipes. Then you put back the road, and then you remember. So hopefully planning, as we would have seen in a number of instances in the past. So everyone this planning forum brought together those agencies to have a robust view, the widest possible view on the whole element of planning for the purpose of making sure that certain changes are brought into effect as we seek to develop these communities.
All right, great. Gentlemen, you've given a lot of information today. I am just about ready to let you go. But before I do that again, I know I am not involved in the planning of this, so I may have indeed missed information. And I don't want the public to miss anything that, may be important to them becoming a part of or contributing. Because you may think that, fine, okay, this is all government. But at the end of the day, if the government does not get the support of the people, this cannot be successful. So, gentlemen, before we wrap up our discussion, beginning with you, Kennard, I'll just give you an opportunity to give another overview of what's going to be happening, and in the event that I have missed anything that you may need to get out.
All right. Again, location, perseverance, Massey Road all the way to the end. All right. Once you get there, you will have an opportunity to see what we have on display, right? The exhibits. However, what I want to caution persons is that the expectations. Don't expect a Gaia Expo site. We have something similar to same. But the focus is on the buildings. The focus is on the solutions. All right. So again, there will be control systems in place there so that safety, security, and everything will take place. In addition to that, the exhibitors, we have retrofitted areas to host those persons too. So again, it's not a Gaia Expo site. It's not
Fair
Providence.
warning.
Right. In terms of the logistics, as Mr. Remington had pointed out earlier, we have a system in place for that too. So we're trying to reduce the amount of congestion, because I know we have a culture where we like to drive 4 or 5 of us. Each one of us have our own vehicles, and we want to go and park and stop right where we are. So we are trying to keep it orderly. I don't know if Mr. Remington would just provide an overview on that, but definitely, come out, see the range of solutions, participate, give us your feedback. Because the data will drive the development. All right? Okay. So with that, just want to say thank you again for having us, and look forward to see you again.
You're welcome. Remington.
Yeah, 3 points I'd like to make. First of all, so this is Housing Solutions 2017 and beyond. I'd like for the public to know, to hear it from me, as someone working closely with the minister, the government is not abandoning the allocating of individual house lots. So
Great.
if anybody tells you that, read my lips. They are lying. The government is not abandoning that. The government is trying to speed up we have 25,000 active applications in the system. So we're looking for sort of a density, increasingly density. Now, there are a number of persons who are interested in the duplex arrangement, and so for those who are invited to this, which takes me to my second point, if you are interested, all you need to do, make sure you have an application in the system. And 2 is go to Central Housing Planning Authority and indicate to the staff on the middle floor in the Land Administration Department that you would like to pursue one of these units, and have them take your name and contact information. My third and final point is, for more information, you can reach the Secretariat at Housing Solutions at chpa.gov.gy, telephone number 226-0489. I'd like to echo Dazzel's comment. Come out and see the exhibition for yourself, beginning on Friday, the 26th of May, 2017, at the Perseverance Development Site.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. I certainly got a lot out of this conversation, and I know the viewers did. Those of you who are now joining the conversation, you've missed a really great one, as usual, on this program. But of course, those of you who follow me on social media, before the end of the day, the conversation will be loaded to YouTube and also to my Facebook page. This has been a conversation with Kennard Dazzel, who is the project manager of Housing Solutions 2017 and beyond, and also Mr. Remington Nelson. He is the technical assistant to the Minister of Housing, the Honorable Valerie Patterson.